praises to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Kakadash, double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, who really teach well, who taught us this truth. This is your brother Yeshemai from the JMS Atlantic Camp. And today's topic is going to be going into the trying times that is to come upon the entire world. All right, so, first, let's start off with Ezekiel 3, verse 17. It says, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. And when did we become that watchman? Well, we became that watchman as soon as the Spirit entered into our bodies, right? Once we got the 100% understanding that we were known, that we were not so-called blacks, natives, or Hispanics. That's when the Spirit came into us. When we got the 100% truth, when we got the name of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. Okay, so now having that truth, we are now a watchman unto who? Unto the house of Israel, unto our people, man. All right, we are out here to warn our people of the troubles to come. All right, because once you know that, you know, once you know what's coming, our duty is to warn others, and then it's up to them. If they heed the warning, and they save themselves by calling upon Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, then the blood is off of our hands. However, if they don't heed the warning, the blood is still off of our hands because we gave that warning. And that's why we do these videos. It says, therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. And what is the warning that we are to give to our people? Let's go ahead and play this video because this is what's coming. I will see right here. Now, right here. Salakia.
Quietly, a few people sleeping under bridges, a handful of families camping near train stations. Now it's a full-blown national crisis. Across China, tens of thousands have become homeless, not because they lost jobs, but because they lost points. The government's social credit system has turned ordinary citizens into digital outcasts and the streets into their only refuge. For years, China's social credit system was portrayed by state media as a tool to build trust and reward good citizens. Introduced in the mid-2010, it was designed to monitor behavior, tracking everything from bill payments and online speech to travel history and social relationships. Those who followed the rules would enjoy privileges, easier loans, faster job approvals, cheaper transport, but for those who didn't, the punishment could be life-altering. Under this system, every citizen is assigned a digital score, built from massive data gathered by government agencies, tech giants, and surveillance networks. Falling behind on a payment, criticizing local officials, or even associating with a person deemed untrustworthy can lower one's score. Once that happens, the consequences are severe: travel bans, frozen bank accounts, and loss of access to housing or healthcare. At first, these penalties seemed distant, theoretical, something that only affected problematic people. But as China's economy weakened, local governments began expanding the blacklist, labeling not just criminals, but anyone with financial debt or unpaid taxes as untrustworthy. Suddenly, tens of thousands found themselves locked out of basic life functions, unable to rent apartments, buy train tickets, or even book a hotel room. In major cities like Chengdu, Wuhan, and Tianjin, entire groups of citizens have been evicted after landlords were warned not to rent to low-score individuals. When digital payment systems such as Alipay and WeChat Pay automatically blocked their accounts, survival became nearly impossible. With no way to pay rent or buy necessities, many drifted onto the streets, forming growing encampments beneath bridges and on the edges of industrial zones.
And that's what's coming, and the scriptures go into this, man. See, now this is a dry run, being done in China, man. And this is how it's going to start off, because I'm sure that brothers have seen the article that that guy Starmer, he announced that there would be a digital ID in order for people to work in Britain, man. And so, this thing is starting to catch up onto the world, man. And so the purpose of this video is to show what's coming to America, man. All right. Because, just as it started in China, and then it's going to the UK, then it's coming onto America, man. And did you catch how they got the people? It started off with, it was just, something to help people, something to keep better track of people. And what do we have? we have evidence of that same thing here. Let's see, Larry Ellison. Matter of fact, let's go to YouTube here. No, I think we're done with that video. Larry Ellison able to track people on their best behavior. Check this out.
Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison predicts AI surveillance will be part of our everyday lives in the future. During a recent
See, and this is something that a lot of Americans they think that this is not gonna affect them, man. And the sad thing is that yeah, it's gonna affect it's gonna affect the entire world. This is Revelations 3 verse 10. It says, "Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation." And here's the point, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. And so, what's this talking about? What's the hour of temptation? The hour of temptation, as we're gonna get into, is the MOTB, man. All right, because it started in China, and then it's going to the UK, and now it's coming to America, man. These people are not hiding it anymore, man. This devil is coming down with great wrath because he knows that he has but a short time. And how does he know that? He knows that because his enchantments aren't working, man. He knows that because people aren't buying what he says. Everything is not being questioned. Even things that happened decades ago, even that's not being questioned. And the scripture goes into that. Matter of fact, we'll go ahead and pull that precept, and then I'm gonna play the video. Shame for glory, right there. Where's it? Habakkuk? Yep, Habakkuk 2:16. It says, "Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered." And that's where we're at right now, man. And this devil is being exposed for who he is, man. Because now you have modern day Edomites that are complaining about what's to come to America. People are unhappy about the way that the economy is. People are unhappy as expensive as the cost of things are, man. And so they're starting to ask questions. Why is America sending billions to the small hats, but yet they, with the amount sent to the small hats, they could have solved hunger in America. They could have solved homelessness in America like three times over. But what does this bastard choose to do? He would rather send money for wars, man. All right. And now his foreskin is being uncovered. And because his foreskin is being uncovered, now he has to step it up. You know, that's why it says, because he knoweth that he has but a short time. The cup of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee. And what is his right hand? His right hand is Yahweh. Yahweh is coming here to visit this man and take him out of his place of authority. It says, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. And that's exactly where he's at now, man. Everybody's seen this video, and they're not happy with these Edomites, man. All right.
In
Let's go
Oracle
and play this.
Q&A, Ellison said AI will soon play a major role in monitoring society through a vast network of interconnected cameras, including security systems, police body cams, and vehicle dash cams.
Everyone would see it. Your body cams will be transmitting that. The police will be on their best behavior because
The police will be on their best behavior. And isn't that what that last video said in China? That's how they introduced it unto their citizens. They introduced it to their citizens as a way to, everybody's going to be safer because, people have a score. Again, the scripture says that he spoke that his, matter of fact, let's go ahead and get that. Words were smooth as honey. Words smooth as honey. Death in his mind. Something like that. Salagia. For his words were smooth as butter. Words smooth. There you go, right there. Words smooth as butter. All right here. Psalms 55:21. Slack. It says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords, man. All right, and that's what this guy's going into, man. He's giving you, all these excuses as to why you have to bow down to his system. You know, it's for your good. People, we're gonna give you a UBI. We're gonna give you a stimulus every week, but all you have to do is you have to enter into the digital ID, and then after that, it's going to lead into the MOTB, man. But let's go ahead and listen to this devil here, man.
We're constantly recording, watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
Ellison's vision is for AI to analyze data from this network of cameras in real time in an attempt to prevent crime while also tracking and influencing public behavior for a safer society. However, the idea raises serious privacy concerns. Critics argue it could lead to a surveillance state with constant monitoring infringing on personal privacy rights, while others say it could help solve crimes faster and provide transparency to citizens in cases of excessive force from law enforcement.
We're going to have supervision. In other words, every police officer is going to be supervised at all times.
And it's always, I'm trying to keep my cool here, man, but it's always these wicked ass Edomites, man. And then if it's not a Edomite, it's a minority being puppeteered by these Edomites, man. Specifically Amalek, because this guy, this is a small hat. He's the biggest donor to the small hat army, man. And this is what's coming to America, man. Ultimately, it's going to be a digital ID, which is going to go into Revelations 13 and 16. It says, and he, all right, he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or on their foreheads. And how is he going to how is he going to cause everyone? Well, we saw a perfect example of it during the C-19, where he caused a lot of people to take that jump, man, right? So that they would be able to go to work, so that they would be able to go into the hospital, so that they could visit their parents. The same way that they caused people in that dry run to take an experimental vaccine, he's going to do the same thing now. But this time, he's learned from his mistakes. He saw how people reacted to it, and now they're learning from it, man. And so he's going to come down with an even bigger wrath. It says, and he causes all, both small and great. And that small and great goes into, well, we'll go ahead and pull these words here, man. Says small is micros, and then great is megas, man. Okay, so it says small, small of rank or influence, and then we can compare that to that word megas, because mega says person eminent for ability, authority, or power. So basically, just as we saw these superstars, like The Rock, we saw people like Oprah saying that they got that experiment, put into their bodies, man. Everybody's gonna be doing this, man. All right, because he's gonna make it to where even during Hollywood, man, people, those megas, those people of high stature, they couldn't do films unless they were, unless they had that jump shot. Ice Cube went into that. Matter of fact, we'll go ahead and pull up that article. Let me see. Ice Cube was not allowed to film because of it says right here. It says, in 2021, actor and rapper Ice Cube exited the Sony comedy Oh Hell No after refusing a request from producers to get, against the 19. This decision reportedly cost them a $9 million paycheck. So this is an example of, the megas being caused to get it. Now, here he was given a choice, but ultimately, man, people aren't, people are going to have to lose everything that they have and not take the MOTB, or they're going to have to take it, man. This one, this was a driver, man. Let's go back into it. It says, rich and poor, free and bond, right? And we saw perfect examples of that, because they were, offering inmates, to get out of jail if they took that experiment. To what? So he's going to make it to where everybody receives a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, man. And I wanted to do a back to the basics on the MOTB because that's what GMS is known for, is going into the MOTB, right? And so you know, we'll go into the word charagma, because what does the word charagma mean? It says a stamp, a mark, or stamp. Well, it says the mark branded upon horses, man, and that's ultimately what this charagma is. This is the branding. The, this is gonna be how everyone gets branded before Yahushua comes back, man. All right, because we are down to the last prophecies, man. We are down to, uh, 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 we are in the beginning of Jacob's trouble with these, ice raids, with these, with the DHS going into the southern kingdoms, places of where they stay at, right? And that's going to lead into the famine of the word, right? And then it's going to lead into the MOTB, which is going to lead it. We are already in World War III, man. It just hasn't fully, it just hasn't fully gone off the rails, man. So when Yahushua comes back, the flock is going to be separated. People are going to be marked with this digital law, man. People are going to mark themselves for destruction, or people are going to mark themselves in separation, right? They're going to separate from this world, and they're going to become homeless, man. Just like we saw, that video with the Chinese, man. You're right. A lot of those people, had a low digital score. I mean, a low social credit score, and they couldn't even rent houses. They couldn't travel. They couldn't. That's what's coming to us, man. This is what's coming to the entire world, man. This is a piercing, man. This is, this charagma is talking about the piercing of the skin, and this is further proof, because when you go into the root word of charagma, that word is karax, and what does that word mean? It means a palisade or a pale, all right, and what is a palisade? Well, we'll go ahead and pull it up. We'll use the same tab right here. Palisade. Definition. Right here it says a fence of stakes, especially for defense, right? A long, strong stake pointed at the top and set close with others as a defense. So again, that palisade, right, is going into a sharp object, man. All right. So let's go and go back into here. It says a palisade or rampart. So it's a piercing that's going to brand you. And when you go into the root word of Karax, that word is graphos, because once they go from the digital ID, right, right, that digital ID is going to go into the MOTB. And what does that digital ID have? That digital ID is going to have all your passwords, it's going to have all your bank information, it's going to have all your search history, it's going to have everything about you. But then they're going to transfer that digital ID into into the RFID chip, man. They're going to put that into your body so that they can get all of your writing in your body, man. All right, because the word graphos here, the first definition, it says to write with reference to the form of letters, man. That's all your information. That charagma, that piercing, that piercing of the skin is gonna have all of your information, man. It says to delineate letters on a tablet, parchment paper, or other material. And what is that other material? That other material is going into your body, man. This is what's coming. To write with references to the contents of the writing. All of that RFID is gonna have all of your information, man. And if you're not, if you have, what they call wrong think, they can shut that off and they can end your existence there, man. Once you take that, once you take that piercing, man, that's it. There is no coming back from it, man. There, there is gonna be no excuse, man. This says right here, says verse 17, it says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. And when, we see a perfect example of right here.
China's collapse dramatically blocked their accounts. Survival became nearly impossible. With no way to pay rent or buy necessities, many drifted onto the streets, forming growing encampments beneath bridges and on the edges.
And what does the scripture say? Be ye as pilgrims. Let's go ahead and get that. Be ye as pilgrims. Second Ezra 16 and 40. It says, "O my people, hear my word." And who are his people? Well, first and foremost, as we got in Ezekiel, it said the house of Israel. All right. So first and foremost, his people are the house of Israel. But most importantly, his people on this side, his people are the elect, because only the elect will hear the warning. It says, "Make you ready to thy battle." Right? And so, what does that mean? Well, Ephesians the 6th chapter says that our battle is not carnal, but spiritual through the pulling down of strongholds, man. So that's how we are making ready for the battle, man. We are, preparing ourselves. We're separating ourselves from this place so that when this time comes upon the entire earth, we are ready for it. You know, what? Matter of fact, let's get that. Tribulation builds patience. Tribulation builds patience. Romans 5. Oh yeah, we're going to get it. Romans 5. 3, it says, "And not only so, but we glory in tribulations, knowing that tribulation worketh patience, and patience experience, and experience hope." All right, and so that's where we are at now, man. We are preparing ourselves, right? We're denying ourselves of particular things of this world, because this patience, right? It says tribulations worketh that patience, man. And what's that tribulation that ultimately the entire earth is going to face? The hour of temptation. That the MOTB, man. This is coming to everybody. All right, but let's go ahead and go back to Second Ezra. Here it says, "Make you ready to that battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth." So Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, through the scriptures, is telling us this is coming to you. You're gonna have to deal with this, but when this comes to you, my people, the elect, right? Be ye as pilgrims, man, and that's what we see here. We are gonna be shut out from society, man. All right, and we see these things starting. We see that we are at the end of this place, man. This is Second Ezra 9 verse 1. It says, "He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself." And that's what we're doing. As watchmen, we are able to go into the scriptures and see, okay, this is the this is exactly what Ezekiel 38 is going into. We just brought up chapter 13, right, about the MOTB, right? So we're able to measure the time diligently. Why? Because we've been given the understanding, man. All right, starting with our elders and apostles, says, "And when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before," what to say? "Then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made." And that's where we're at right now, man. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this video, man. But the point is that just as the entire world is going through this digital ID system, this is coming to America, and ultimately that digital ID is gonna lead to the MOTB, man. So we have a choice to make. You know, we right now we are to prepare spiritually for what's to come, man. Let's continue to send up prayers that Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai keeps us during the time of temptation that's going to come and try the entire world, man. All right, and if we be of the elect, the Most High is going to hold our hand through it. Matter of fact, we'll get one more scripture. It says, "My servant shall eat." Yeah, Isaiah 65 and 13 says, "Therefore thus saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Behold, my servants shall eat." And who are his servants now? Well, his servants are the elect, because the only the elect is serving Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai at this point, man. Not all of Israel is Israel, man. So are his servants are serving him now. All right, but ye shall be hungry. And who is ye? Ye, first and foremost, is 2/3 of our people, because the scripture says judgment starts in the house of Jacob. But then furthermore, it's the whole world, as we just read in Revelations 3 and 10. It says, "Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed." And how are we going to be fed and given given, H2O. Well, in the same way that Elijah was fed by the birds, man. All right, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh, he will make a way, man. All right, and so look, man, we are at the threshold of prophecy coming to pass. At this point, our people need to turn to the scriptures and call upon Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh. Hopefully, this has been edifying, and until the next one, shalom.